Hey everybody, and welcome to Quentin's Enginewerks. The following content may have some strong content in it, so parental guidance is suggested. That means guide your parents out of the room so we can have some fun. Hey everybody, welcome to Quentin's Enginewerks. I'm Quentin, I'm going to be your host. We have a great guest tonight. We have Trish Forstner, artist from Stray Dogs. Hello Trish, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Hey, so today's tax day, kind of a big day around across the country. Now, are you one of those people that is going, oh my gosh, it's here we are on April 15th, and I'm nowhere near getting on them, or are you more like my wife, who it's Valentine's Day, I haven't gotten my last W-2 yet, so I can get all this stuff done, or are you somewhere in the middle of that?
This year I'm somewhere in the middle. This year was a big year. Well, 2020 was a big year for me on a personal tax level. So, I had to kind of feel my way through it. I actually had to hire an accountant for the first time ever. So that's crazy. But yeah,
Congratulations.
my taxes are done. Yeah, my taxes are done.
Awesome.
The deadline got extended down here, though, I think, or federally, I think it's May 15th now. I think it's May.
Oh, okay. So just been so used to April 15th for forever and a day. So,
Yep.
So hey,
Yep, same.
The idea of another month,
That's why my taxes were done like last month. Procrastinate as long as you can, people.
Especially if you owe, you're sooner or later Uncle Sam will get his wet bite back, but until then, hey, run like the wind.
Exactly.
So on, when it comes to geek stuff, a warm-up question I like to ask everybody, when it comes to geek stuff, we all have our own personal Mount Rushmores. You can tell I'm a child of the 80s. My Mount Rushmore, Transformers, G.I. Joe, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, and Thundercats and Ninja Turtles and He-Man get honorable mention. For you, who's your Mount Rushmore?
Oh my goodness. Well, I know for certain Don Bluth is an animator and storyteller is up there. He's on my Mount Rushmore. I drew a lot of inspiration from his stories as a kid, so he's on there. Lots of 80s cartoons. You see my Care Bears back here. I got nice. The Kool-Aid Man, give me some good stuff. It makes me feel nostalgic. I love that. I like let's see, Gem and the Holograms. That was huge for me when I was a kid. It was kind of like right up against Transformers, in that like Power Hour or something. It was fantastic. Mm-hmm. So, we had a lot of things when we were kids that just kind of stuck into our brains, like, the theme songs from these shows that are earworms that just kind of, drag you in and make you just feel warm and safe and comfortable. So good.
I didn't even watch Gem, and I know the song.
It's such a good show. Yeah, exactly. And they also had that alternate theme that was kind of like that, but it was like one of the songs from the show that they turned into an alternate theme. Like, I think it was later. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I like all the same nerd stuff, Give me some Star Wars. Give me some good times.
Excellent. I'm equal opportunity for just about all things geek. There's some stuff where it takes me. I have to work really hard to go. Okay, but at the end of the day, I'm sure there are individuals that look at my level of Transformers and go, "You're nuts." So I have to be willing to.
There was one show that I was on. Laura probably reached through her computer and smacked me, but she was appalled that I didn't like Harry Potter. I was never that into Harry Potter. I was more into Lord of the Rings myself.
I I can see that. My wife loves Harry Potter, so I'm not about to go down that. Because if she watches this later, I'm not gonna.
We have to, you have to play both sides. You have to play both sides.
Well, I do like Harry Potter, but I wasn't the one going. Okay, the new book has to come out. The new book has to come out. For me, it was kind of a. After about the third or fourth book, I started going. Okay, you're telling me that Voldemort, the most evil wizard in the world, is being beaten by the equivalent of a first grade grammar lesson.
Yeah, I get it.
And the amount of other stuff along the way, especially Prisoner of Azkaban. No, we cannot use magic to change the course of history. At the end of it, by the way, spoiler alert, at the end of it, hey, Hermione uses that time changer and they save Buckbeak and Sirius Black. So Harry's parents could have been saved, and they talk about how Sirius Black ended up in Azkaban. And when we learn, and I think it was the fifth or sixth book, there's that spell Prior Incantum, so you can learn who cast the last spell and what it was. So they could have taken Sirius's wand and realized he had nothing to do with Harry's parents' death. So yeah, at that point I started going, okay, cool story, but not an oh my gosh, where's this been all my life anymore? So. So do you have a favorite character in all of geekdom, or is it kind of a unilateral?
Well, I mean, do I have a favorite any character? No, I mean, it's kind of like, it's kind of like trying to choose your favorite child. I don't think that happens. I will always love certain things. Like I will always love, like Chip and Dale. That's like my favorite of the Disney characters, like the little Fab Five or the little group. I will always love Chip and Dale. Or I will always love the, Good Luck Bear from the Care Bears. Those things. Those are my little totems. I love them. But yeah, no, I don't have like an absolute like, oh my god, I would kill for this character to be on everything. I'm trying to think of like something overly, positive. Like, I mean, I'm pretty much just a child of the 80s. So whatever came out of the 80s and early 90s, I'm pretty much there for.
Yeah, okay. So we're gonna shift gears a little bit, go from the 80s to modern day. You've got. Yeah. I was when I was in my local comic book shop about a month and a half ago, I came across that.
Ooh, and that's a tough one to come by these days.
Yeah, like I say, this was the first day it came out. I was looking through, went in there to pick up my polls and was going, what the hell is that? It looks like a Care Bear had a love child with the Silence of the Lamb poster, and exactly. I had to have it.
It was just so fitting. I really liked that homage.
Oh, one of the guys I work with at Indie Comics Dispatch, Tier, he talks about having an elevator pitch. Your cover beats the crap out of any elevator pitch, any 3-second pitch you get at a con, anything like that. Your cover does exactly what it's supposed to do, because at the end of the day, it's supposed to grab somebody's attention and make them go, "What's that?" And I was going, "What's that?" I bought it. More. Yeah, and
I just got something in the mail yesterday. That's really cool. The issue 3 homage.
From
the Annabelle series.
I am so glad that I've already I've told my local store I want all the movie covers.
Yeah,
you just cost me
money.
They're
so awesome. We did so they almost didn't happen. We almost didn't do these homage covers. For the issue. We didn't think that they would We wanted our book to stand on its own, and Image was like, well, yeah, it totally will, but guess what? You could totally sell the idea of this book not really being for kids, but at the same time conveying that it's a horror, So that's what this was for. And originally we weren't going to, but then we did, and it was great.
Yeah, because in all honesty, I don't know, because I saw the standard cover as well. I don't know. I don't think the standard cover doesn't jump out at you quite as much, Whereas, like I say, we all grew. We're the perfect age where we remember Silence of the Lambs from back in the day.
I'm looking to see if I got a standard cover handy. This right here.
And it's. Don't get me wrong, it's good, but it is good, but it's not the I know that logo. If that, and because like I say, as soon as I saw that, honestly, when I wrote about it, I went, it looks like a Care Bear with a Care Bear and love with Silence of the Lambs. I was intrigued. I had to find out more. When I asked the clerk about it at the store, well, I could tell you, but then I'd deprive you of letting you find out for yourself.
Ooh,
here's your $4. Give me my book.
So what'd you think? I mean, I think I read a review. You wrote a review on that, right? I think I read your review on that.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what to expect. I ended up liking it, a lot. It's a very, I would say it's a dark. All Dogs Go to Heaven, except for All Dogs Go to Heaven is already pretty dark. It reminded me a lot of that, but there's more, but with the number of different animals, there's a lot more personalities, more like Lady and the Tramp, which to me was, like all the way around, I was going, this is something fun, something different, because a lot, most of the stuff that I'm reading and writing about does not have anything to do with animals other than, I think the closest thing to it is the Timberwolf that Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe has. So it's a lot of, for me, it's a lot of human interaction or human alien interaction. So, where the focus of the book is from an animal's perspective, I was going, I love this.
Not to take away from anything else that I've seen out there. It's just that I don't think I've seen one quite like our book in a long time. So you don't really get that a lot. And I like when you can find something that has like a fresh take on a concept.
Well, I know Stray Dogs is killing it because issue 2 is already getting a second print coming out, which congratulations. That means more printings the better. That means that you guys found lightning in a bottle and have people going, what's that, and wanting more. So I think that's very impressive.
Printing. Well, like the first printing, or the second printing of issue 1, that was a surprise. I was at a comic shop, one of my local shops, when we found out we were getting a second print for issue 1. And that was on the day that it was released. We didn't find out about issue 2 until like a couple of days later. So I was like, oh man, we probably didn't do that good. I was really bummed out. And then they were like, issue 2 reprint, and I was like, oh, we did it. We did it.
Nice.
It's fine. But between you and me and the fence post and all of your listeners and people watching, issue 3 to me is pivotal. It turns the whole story on its head. So
it gets better. Yeah. We're gonna have.
It's like a roller coaster for me anyway. Having drawn this thing, it's just like a roller coaster. I don't know that I was ready for. But I'm glad and we're working on issue 5, like as we speak. I'm on the last few pages of issue 5. It's very rewarding, and the whole thing is just, this story is unlike anything I've ever heard or seen.
Nice.
And to be part of it is so fantastic.
I can't wait for it because it, like I say, it went from I'm curious to it's the latest greatest, taking the place of all the other stuff on my pull list that the series has run out. So curse you in the sudden inevitable betrayal of my wallet.
Oh yeah, well curse your sudden inevitable betrayal. I got dinosaurs on my wall back here. I know what this reference is.
Awesome.
You know what?
Yeah.
I was just talking about that on my walk with the dog. We were just talking about Firefly. That's that's up there on the
Mhm.
Rushmore as well.
Yeah. Actually, IDW. I think No, was it IDW or Boom? One of them just put out a new book.
Yeah, it was Boom, I
Firefly
think.
Brand New Verse.
Yep.
Where here we're, from what I can tell, 20 something years later, and it turned out that and in the movie Serenity, Zoe was pregnant.
Oh, that movie didn't happen to me.
Yeah, that was one of the most there have been very few sci-fi geek related moments that left me just stunned, going that they didn't, as much as that one particular moment.
I literally almost turned the whole movie off at that point. Like I almost didn't finish it. I was just like, "Well, that's it. This series is dead.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this movie is dead to me. Only the series exists.
Mm-hmm.
Only the 13 episodes of the show exist."
And if only Fox had put them out in the right order and kept the dates the same in the first place, it'd
And
be
the
a whole
time
different
spots,
verse.
yeah. We'd probably be on like season 14. It'd be like Doctor Who. We'd have a whole new crew. Every
Mm-hmm.
season, every
Oh,
couple of seasons.
yeah, I definitely love me some Who. Are you a big Whovian, or is it more of a kind of a take it or leave it, or?
More of a take it or leave it gal. I mean, I think a 10th Doctor, I think, is where I kind of picked it up, and then after 10th Doctor, I kind of left it. Because everybody was freaking
I
out, and I'm like, what's everybody freaking out about? you know. So I watched it a few episodes. I got more into that one than ones after that, but it's a good series, I guess, if you depending on I guess which doctor you pick up. I don't know. They all look cool.
I to me, there's my the great debate about which companion's the best, because you can make an argument for just about every single one of them. There's some that I like, some I like better than others. Some of the people that work for me, when my first time working with them, I'll ask them, who's your favorite Doctor Who companion, all the while thinking choose wisely. But
Yeah, don't cross me.
mhm.
Uh,
And there have been a couple times where people have answered that question incorrectly, where some of the other people that work for me were just like, yeah, you're gonna have a bad day. But but anyway, going back to Stray Dogs for a little bit,
yeah.
you know you've got your own dog Eve, and I know you weren't the writer for Stray Dogs, but how much of Eve's personality did you try to put into Sophie, through the artwork?
Okay, so Eve's personality actually goes into Roxy, the Malamute, in the
Oh,
story.
okay.
So if you see Roxy in the story, she's usually like lounging or kind of strutting around, being real cute. Um, you know, that's my dog.
Mhm.
Anytime you see Roxanne, that's my dog. Sophie was designed to be like in your horror story. She's supposed to be like the hero girl, the one that the the one that's the center of the film. She's your Nev Campbell or your
Oh, okay.
whatever. And then she's like the it girl, and then you've got um Rusty, who's like the hero type, dashing, strong. You got Earl, who's kind of like the morally gray character. He's kind of like a grumpy old man, but and then
Hmm.
and then all the rest of the personalities, like Killer. He's an homage like to a friend of ours dog who's helping us with our movie. Um, and then we've got um, other Henry, who is after Tony's dog. So I love all their names. Like we kind of goofed around with some of the names, and the personalities kind of came out as I was drawing them. So like I would get the layouts, and the layouts would have like the dogs kind of in the background, and it would just be like them standing there, and I'm like, no, we can't just stand there. One of them's got to be making a goofy face or playing with a toy or whatever, because that's what dogs do, right?
Very
so
true.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
what's your Eve do? Your Eve is a Boston Terrier, right?
Yeah, my Eve's a Boston Terrier. And she is my best friend in the world when I'm in the kitchen or if I have my car keys.
That
You know,
exactly correct. That's what they do. Like Eve,
you know,
whenever I'm cooking anything or whatever, she's right there. She's like, drop that,
mm,
whatever it is, I'll have it. It's fine.
mm.
You know.
Well, with my, because I have Eve and I also have a Border Collie Lab mix, or
Ooh.
and that's Caitlin. She's the daddy's girl, and also
Aw.
the guardian of the house. And so
It's good to have a
she
dog with a big bark.
oh
She got a big bark.
she definitely has that. And if it has a diesel engine, she's so used to UPS and FedEx drivers always parking in front of our house to drop off comic books. So a school bus can go by down the street and she'll go into orbit because of the diesel engine on it.
Oh my gosh. She's just alerting you that your packages have arrived, but they
Mm-hmm.
haven't. It's the school bus.
And there's so much excitement. She grabs the package. I go out and smell the driver's butt.
Yeah. Oh. Dogs are fantastic, though. They bring this out in us, They bring out this fun excitement. So I guess and you feel like you want to feel for these characters. That's another reason why we designed them the way that we did. Everybody loves dogs, and you're kind of a monster if you're a dick to dogs. So
Absolutely.
it's like we needed to make a guy so hateable that and we didn't really. What's really cool is that you don't really need to know a lot about him because we're telling it from the POV of these dogs. The dogs don't even know. They don't know what he does for a living. They don't. They just know that he brings them food, and he brings them treats, and he takes care of them. That's all they know. So they don't think he's a bad guy. And so it's evidence by issue 1. When Sophie discovers what's going on and she remembers. You know, she tells them, and they're like, "What? Shut up." It's
Yeah.
I love that part of this. I love that dynamic in the story.
And so as awesome as Stray Dogs has been, are there any other projects in the works that or are you getting ready, going to take some time off and or where are we at with what other stuff and coming out?
I don't know if you know, but I draw for My Little Pony sometimes. I've got My Little Pony Transformers 2 coming out in May. I have I got to draw Wild Wheel, Transformer
Nice.
Cowboy, which was really over the top and awesome.
Yeah, my kids actually got me for Father's Day. I think it was. They got me a My Little Pony Transformers book. That way they can say I have a My Little Pony book. It was
Well,
actually.
if you look real careful at it, Tony Fleece drew that one and wrote and colored and did a good deal on that.
Huh.
And he's working on this one too. The two of us met through My Little Pony, which you don't expect to see like this kind of book, this Stray Dogs, coming from people who draw My Little Pony. At least grown-ups would not know us. Kids would.
Well, the other side of that is, have you seen Bob Saget's comedy routines?
Oh yeah, he's so
Enough said.
wholesome and chummy, but then he's like this really brash and kind of boisterous and rude comedian.
And when you only see him on Full House and America's Funniest Home Videos, and then you see Bob Saget live. Yeah, there were moments of wow.
Just like, is this the same dude? Like what?
Mm-hmm. It's got to be somebody messing with the audio and dubbing, and
obviously Photoshop is involved somehow. We don't know how.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's I've got My Little Pony Transformers 2 coming out in May. I've got the annual for My Little Pony book coming out. But I didn't draw that book. I just did the retailer cover for it. And Brianna Garcia illustrated that one, and she is so good. Her style is so good. Let's see. That's all I've got really going on for now. I've got a retailer exclusive Warhorns cover coming out through Bird City Comics, but I haven't seen it announced yet. But I like to shout out to them because they're my homies over there at Bird City.
I completely understand that. There have been a couple places and some of the individual writers along the way that if it weren't for them I wouldn't be where I'm at now. So I completely get that.
It's so fantastic. Like, I mean, I'm still relatively new in comics, right? So this is like my first
Mhm.
real indie project on my own. Well, not on my own. Tony, of course, Stray Dogs team is very tight. We have colorist, layout artist, me, artist, and
Mhm.
Tony, writer, and then we have our designer and our pre-press and editor. So we have like a team of like 6 people that really came together for this book. And then Image, of course, does their magic, and it's just I don't know. I hear this is lightning in a bottle. I hear this is like magic. It doesn't usually happen to like first timers, so I'm taking advantage of every little
Mhm.
thing because
Oh,
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just tripping through it.
there have been a couple of different titles that have come out this year that basically have hit the ground running, and they're taking the world by storm. Jason or Jonathan Hedrick, The Recount, has been a very interesting read. It's very dark, very, very plausible. In a sense, with that one, in the first, the first issue or so is the premise of the president's been assassinated, and we um sorry so the president's been assassinated, and and when you find out that basically it's this giant conspiracy, and then when the vice president is doing a live feed going, hey, I'm taking over, and the feed gets hacked by the terrorist organization saying that the president was dirty, we killed him because of it, we're killing anybody that was involved in putting him in his, in that position of power, whether it was the corporation, the corporate bigwigs that backed him, all the way down to the voters who voted for him, and we have
Oh
a
my
list of
god,
everybody who voted.
that's
And
shocking.
oh, it was like, it's a 4-book, I believe it's a 4-book run. The 4th book should be coming out in another few weeks or so. And it's just been, that one has been a very, like I say, it's, it makes it announces its presence with authority.
Wow.
This book is along those lines. Kaiju Score is another one, but there haven't been that many this year that I've, as a guy that, I'm, it's a slow year for me, and I'm already 70 something books into the year that I've actually written about. We're not even talking about how many I've read, and I'm going, I can't write about this. But
Wow.
and
I'm still, like I said, very new into like
yeah.
all of the comic like world. So I've just started picking up like other Image books, for instance, Shadecraft, um, the Noctera, those sorts of. I've just started picking those up. I picked up
That's
Berserker because who doesn't? And um, even that, like the premise is Berserk. It's
oh, to me, Berserker, it's basically Keanu Reeves' character, John, not Constantine, John Wick,
John Wick.
with Wolverine's healing powers.
I love it. That's awesome.
No, that's how it comes across to me. But Image, for the most part, it's hard to go wrong with. We refer to the big two as being Marvel and DC. Realistically, Image, I'm to quote Aaron, one of the guys that works with us at Indie Comics Dispatch. He put it, Image is makes it the big three. Realistically, Image is forcing the other two to step up their game, and
I get
so
that.
you're paired up with an awesome company that's got all sorts of great stuff, great content, in its history, and continues to put out great content.
Yeah, I love them. I mean, they've been a dream to work with. I haven't had a lot of experience with it. Obviously, I'm still asking a ton of questions, but it's like, you know, everybody has been very accepting of our story. We got some feedback. We got a couple of this face and a couple of emails. Like, what are you doing? you know, uh, and we're just like, we're sorry, we have to. It's you know, it's very good. The story is, I think, the story really goes a long way. Like if you just heard Tony pitch this thing to you, like when he pitched it to me in 2018, I was at BronyCon. We were at BronyCon together. Funny enough, and he asked me to come sit at his table for a minute. So I sat at his table, and he's like, "You got a couple minutes to talk about this book that I want to do?" And he tells me about the style. He automatically, first things out of his mouth were, "I need it to look like an 80s, like a gritty old animation, like a Don Bluth movie." I was like, "All right, you already got me. Okay." So then he tells me a story, goes through the whole first issue, basically page by page, hitting all the points. And then he hits me at the very end with, she remembers that he is that he killed her lady and took her as a trophy. And I was like, dead. I was dead. I said, well, I'm involved. It's fine. I'm involved now. This is great. When do I start? How do I design? Let's do the things. Let's get it started. So, we worked on this every day. I work on this book every single day, and I've worked on it every single day since 2018.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Just putting, issue 1 together, and then once issue 1 was together, they were taking it around and pitching it, and pitching it to studios and stuff, because Tony lives in LA. I'm East Coast. I nobody knows who I am. I'm a nobody over here, and he's over there in LA, like making deals and getting us the hookup. But so they pitched it to some studios, and Paramount actually picked it up, which I was freaking out about.
Congratulations! That's very cool.
Yeah, we sold it to them back in July, actually, of last year, before the first issue even came out.
Nice.
Because first issue came out in February of this year. So yeah, we were basically okay, because that paid for us to be able to make this book, and so if they actually make the movie, fingers crossed, everyone. Maybe we'll see some really cool looking 1980s style dark animation for a horror movie, the first one ever, I think.
That would be awesome. I'm been, like say, as soon as I saw it in the comic book store, I was going, I want that.
It's so cool. I love this story so much. It's so personal to me. I'm very protective of it. So you notice that there have only been a few covers that other people have drawn, and I'm like very protective over the characters. Like, no, these are mine. Stuff.
I don't blame you. There's nothing wrong with feeling some pride and ownership on it. So like you said, you've been working on it nonstop. And we're all waiting for that moment when we can have, if we have an agent, even where they pick up the phone and go, hey, you can tell the 9-to-5 job to kiss off, and you get to do this full time from now on.
Oh man, you have no idea. It's something we all work for,
Well, because as a reviewer, I completely understand. I've got probably 50 books in a stack that I've been looking at, going, I really need to get to those. But for me though, a review means from the time I start reading it till the review is done, maybe an hour and a half. Whereas for you, an hour and a half, depending on how intricate a panel is, that's one panel.
Yeah, it's each page probably takes a good, well, I mean, my speed is pretty good right now, so I'm flying through them. I did like 2 pages. I did a page yesterday, and I did like 2 pages the day before. So I'm like hustling. I'm in straight flying mode right now, trying to get to the end. But yeah, it's fantastic. We've got Free Comic Book Day coming up too. We've got a Free Comic Book Day issue of Stray Dogs coming out. It's gonna be
nice.
A creepy little prequel tale, and then in September we've got the trade paperback coming. So yeah.
Very nice. Now, so with all of this going on, do you have a set schedule for like okay from 7:30 until 10 is going to be time to draw, or is it kind of fluid depending on the day, or how?
Usually I'm sitting down to draw probably between 8 and 9, and then I probably will stop drawing. Depends on when I get tired. Sometimes I fall asleep at my desk, and sometimes I will, um, I'll go until about 1. Then I'm like, nah, I got to get up in like 5 hours and go to work. So, you
Mhm.
know, I rarely ever actually get up at 6. So I'll set the record straight there. Probably get up at like 7 more these days since we all work from home. But it's tough, because I really want to draw more, and I want to draw more stuff, like not just for myself, but for other people. I've got, this book has been a very cool vehicle for that sort of thing. Like people are like, "Oh, you draw dogs," Well, can you draw this dog or can you draw that dog? And it's like, absolutely, I can for whatever a price or you know that stuff tends to work for me. It's just I feel awful that I don't have as much time to be able to devote to that sort of thing. I want to be the like comic books dog lady. That's my dream now. I'm gonna draw all the dogs.
It's not a bad dream to have. This is America where anything's possible. So
A
it's a
world
good
where you
goal.
could be anything.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
could be the
yeah.
comics dog lady.
Yeah, I need to do a quick shameless plug. Folks, if everybody out there, if you like what you see with everything that Indie Comics Dispatch is doing, whether it's our reviews, whether it's my show, Scorpio's show, the broadcast from the Dispatch, all of that, please, by all means, become a patron and support our Patreon. As little as $3 a month, you get some swag. You help and you help us stay afloat because we're literally, doing the Wayne's World thing out of all of our basements across the country to make this work for and bring you guys content. So the more, so if we can get the more support we get, the more content you get. So it becomes an ongoing circle of life. So by all means, please patreon.com with slash indie comics dispatch. It's comics with an X, not a CS. Thank you for your support. So, from what I see on social media, Trish, you're a bit of a foodie, just like me. My wife makes these bacon wrapped jalapeno poppers that, oh my gosh, she'll make 20 of them, and if I'm lucky, they last an hour. I regret it the next day, but you have any favorite treat or snack that you like to make?
Um, right now I've been really into making like this corn salsa. We put it on everything. I'll put it on everything. I'll put it on salad. I'll put it on tacos. I'll put it on, whatever. Sandwich, quesadilla. I make
Nice.
everything. I love it. And this corn sauce is very fresh, very easy. Corn, red onion, cilantro, lime juice. The end.
That sounds super easy.
It's super easy. And
Nice.
it lasts a little while. We made way too much last time, and I had to have it on like basically everything for like a week because it was so much I didn't want to waste it. But that's what I've been super into lately. But yeah, I love to cook and to eat, and the quarantine has not been good for me weight wise, but you know
Oh,
we've all been
you know,
all
it,
been through some stuff.
there aren't many people that it has been good for weight wise. I'm not passing judgment. I picked up my COVID-15 along the way.
Exactly. Just I'm just along for the ride. If I gotta be stuck in my house, I might as well enjoy it. You know.
Yeah, it absolutely. You know, but like you were talking, cons are starting to come back finally. And you said
Yeah.
a little bit before that you were liking that you were at a con with Tony. Were you going as spectator? Did you have a booth or?
Well, that particular one was BronyCon, and I ran their design team. I was on their design team for 7 years. I think it was one of the most visually pleasing conventions in the area. We did a lot for wayfinding. We brought several like key pieces of some conventions still using today were, well, they did up until this, which was like, there were like signs, little cards you could hang on yourself to tell people to like either not talk to you or talk to you or whatever.
Hmm.
We did a bunch of stuff that was really good. But anyway, yeah, I hung out locally at con. So I had a booth at that one, obviously. BronyCon was always big for us because, we pony people. Well, that's not where I was, obviously I was drawing long before My Little Pony. But I got to work on the comic from that. So, I just kind of just leaned into it a bit. Tony, of course, was coming because he was drawing for the comics, and Andy Price, they would come and hang out because they drew for the comics. So we would, that's how we met. I met a lot of people through there.
Nice.
Sarah Richards said, like, put my stuff in front of the editor at IDW, and that's how I got my gig with them. I submitted to IDW several times on my own, the same piece, the same couple of pieces. I was just interested in doing some covers, and that's how I got started in it. Some retailer incentives, I think, came after that, and then I got to do a little one-shot story that was like 4 pages long, and then I got to do a free comic book day for them, and then the last one was like a full issue. I got to do a full issue with them, and I did that concurrent with Stray Dogs, so obviously I was very busy, because it takes you about
Who
a
needs
month to
sleep?
do a whole issue. Yeah, who needs sleep? You can sleep when you're dead. It's, it's fine. Uh, these bags, this luggage could tell you stories. It's just, so yeah, I hung out locally at cons. Like I would do Baltimore Comic Con. I would do it as a spectator. Only recently did I start doing a table there.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't as lucrative for me. And I say lucrative in the loose sense that didn't get a lot of traction because I didn't really have anything to promote. I was just promoting my own art. So, you get the people that walk by and they're just like, oh, that's cute. And then they kind of, pass by. It's not their jam
Mhm.
because it's not, like a superhero that they recognize or something on it.
Oh,
So
that's kind of like
that's
when
right.
like we were talking about before, you having that that piece, the piece like your the first cover there that you did, that movie variant for Stray Dogs, something that stops me pulling it, makes them go, what's that?
Yeah, exactly. It makes them ask the question, like, or ask you a question, like, "Oh, did you do that?" Like a lot of people ask you, "Oh, did you do that?" And then they look up at the print wall, and then they kind of, they're like, "I'll
Mhm.
come back," and then and they never do. And I'm just,
Oh,
grief stricken for days. Like, how many people just told me they would come back and they never did? I'm one of those poor abandoned dogs.
yeah. So for you, was it, at the best thing about the con, was it the art, the trip down Artist Alley, just looking at all the prints, or the cosplay, the being able to the meet and greet and rub elbows with some of the writers. To you, what was your favorite thing about it as a
Oh
spectator
my
and a fan?
gosh. If I was just if spectating, like for the years leading up to before I had a booth there, I always loved going through the hall and finding my favorite people and just, hanging out at their booth and basically, like, hey, what's going on? Checking out the whole scene and,
Mm,
what new stuff are you working on? Trying to get that insider information. I always like looking at like the merch. How you have that like big center where like the professional artist, like the pro merch comes in, and everybody's just
mm,
like gotta have the latest and greatest toys. I've never done like a huge con. Like I've never done a San Diego. I've never done a WonderCon or anything like that. I did a WonderCon panel virtually this year for the first time, so that was cool.
uh,
But
nice.
yeah, it was on an image panel. That was really cool. For some image artists. That was a really cool first for me. I mean, you don't really get the same experience though, because you don't get to see the feedback in the crowd, and you don't get to have that uh that instant gratification of like people either
Um,
liking or hating what you say. I don't know.
and to me, it was kind of a mixed bag, because I remember doing San Diego Comic Con virtually last year, and for me, that was the only way it's ever going to happen. So, and it actually made it so okay, you actually get a chance to see some of the panels, and I got, the one that stuck out to me the most, Richard Starkings did, he did like an hour and a half long panel on how to do lettering.
That's
And
cool.
I learned more about lettering in that block with him than I ever imagined. It's one of those things where I had just taken it for granted, and when you realize how much work actually goes into it, it blows you away.
It certainly does.
So
yeah, that's cool though. I mean, like, I don't know, like I never really did like a lot of panels because you'd always have that line to get in, and then if you didn't get close enough, then it was really not. I don't know. I really wasn't into the panels. I'm more into it now than I used to be. That's for sure. Like in the last 3 years, I'm more into it, like now than before. I mean, I've always went to cons as a spectator just because it's always cool to people watch cosplay and just be in the moment there, watching people in their little environments. It just makes you so happy to see people happy.
I agree. I am going to have a high
for a little while.
I'm going to have a high horse moment for a second, though, reminding folks that, with Comic-Cons coming back on the scene, cosplay is not consent, folks. If you're,
that's right.
you see somebody in their a cosplay, you ask them before you can take your picture, because otherwise, at best, you come off being a creepy asshole. At worst, you're a fucking perv. Knock it off.
Yeah, see, yep, I believe that too. I got a lot of friends who are cosplayers. The Princess Leia type, and you're just like, oh no, why are you doing Slave Leia again? That doesn't get the right reaction all the time.
Actually, if I can,
spin. Go for best spin.
Well, actually, if I can pull it off, I'm gonna do Slave Leia this year. I just,
hey!
That's
awesome.
Actually, my, one of my friends and I are talking about, okay, I'll do Slave Leia. They'll do, they're gonna wear a Mickey Mouse, like a Mickey Mouse costume and have the chain, holding the chain to Leia.
Oh my god!
Because and I'll let the beard grow. I'll get some glasses so I can try and look like George Lucas as much as I can. And see, you can appreciate the humor. Everybody at work, you need to watch this 30 seconds so you can see that, yes, this will work.
It'll work. It'll work. People will see it and be like, this guy gets it. Yup. Yup. That's awesome.
So all the cons you went to, who were you most excited to meet over the years?
I know that, like, I'm again real new to a lot of the big time comic book folk. So if I met any of them, like, it was all purely by accident. Like, I ran into them in the in the hall or something like that. My friend has a good story about meeting Stan Lee. I don't have that, because every time he was in Baltimore, it was always under, like, you had to pay a fortune to go see him. But, like, I met Haley Atwell, Agent Carter.
Oh, very cool.
I love her, and she's fantastic. She's so sweet. So I drew an Agent Carter print and had her sign it, which was really cool. I like to draw. What I'll do is I have a little original character that I kind of will Photoshop into scenes with different actors, or whoever I'm going after for that con, if I know somebody's going to be there. And so I've got, like, all the best ones. A friend of mine he does a lot of cons, a lot more than I do, and he was able to get Clark Gregg from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. He was able to get dang it, why is his name escaping me? Oh, Nathan Fillion. Back when he was doing Castle. Of course, and I wanted to do a Firefly one too. Oh, and I did one Alan Tudyk.
Oh man,
when he was he was in a fan expo up in Canada. One of my friends in Canada got that signed for me. So I wish I could go to all these cons, but since I can't, I'm just like, here's my little character photoshopped up to a drawing of you. Is that nice? It's nice. That's my nerd thing that I do.
Well, Well, basically, for me, as you can see, for me, it was all about the being able to meet people and shake their hands and ask them questions. As you can see, pretty much every book on the wall behind me has a story behind it.
That's a gorgeous wall. That is a gorgeous wall.
Thank you. Like I said, there's some of them, some of the artists and writers that were super cool. Randy Emberlin is a fan that loves his fans, and you ask the right question. You don't have to do anything other than grunt, nod, and smile, and 30 minutes later, he's still talking. It was
I love
hilarious.
folks that have good stories. Tone Rodriguez, our layout guy, he has so many cool stories. Like, we were just doing a show yesterday. Tone was on the show with us, and we were talking about his time working on The Office and or doing some work for The Office, the show. Tone's done a lot of great work, and I learned so much from him just by him doing layouts for us. He will get these loose drawings from Tony, and then Tone will tighten them up. That was a lot of T's all in a row. Tone will tighten the drawings up, and then I will work my magic with the dogs and make it look like it all fits together. So, and then Brad will do the colors. And if you look at the characters in the book, you'll notice that the characters don't have any shading on them, that they are only lit when it's required. They're only they've got like a red overlay or a blue overlay, depending on what the scene calls for, or a lighter overlay, depending on if it's daylight or whatever. Only the background looks like a painting because it's supposed to look like an animation cell. And this is all by design. The whole thing was by design. It's meant to invoke that little happy feeling from when we were younger and we saw All Dogs Go to Heaven, or we saw the Secret of Nim, or a Disney movie, any of them, pick them, for the first time. That golden age, that renaissance of animation, that's my jam. That's where I live. That's where my nerd center is. It's just, that made me happy. And it makes me happy to be involved in it.
I don't blame you. That's very cool. I never noticed about that. Never noticed that. Now I'm gonna have to go back through and look at that and go, compare, because
you'll go, oh, that's why.
It makes more sense. Yeah,
we were trying to get that happy feeling, that warm nostalgia.
Yeah,
makes me happy.
For me, I did meet Stan Lee at a con, and I had this list of questions. I was going, yes, this is happening, and my wife's cosplay had him looking at her and talking to her the entire damn time. She had made this homemade minion costume that was, don't get me wrong, it was absolutely incredible. But we get up there and I hand Stan my book. He's looking at her. Now that's a costume, and he's asking her all these questions about me. In fact, when he signs my book, half of the S on the Stan from Stan and Stan Lee didn't make it on the book because he was too focused on her.
Oh, that's so sweet. That sounds like a very Stan thing to do.
Don't get me wrong. It makes for an awesome story, but I waited, I paid all that, paid the money and waited in line that long for my wife to talk to him. But the other side of that, like I said, though, is I have a very unique and cool Stan Lee stories, from, before everything, went south there.
I think my friend ran into him on an elevator at San Diego Comic-Con one year. And he said Excelsior, and I was like, what? Shut up. Nuh-uh. Why? Why? I love him so much. It's not even fair. I didn't get to hear it in person.
Very true. Yeah.
It's so cool.
Yeah. Well, 2020, let's face it, sucked for most of us, on different levels. Personally, I lost my dad, had several cons get canceled, had trip that I was supposed to take my wife and kids to Disneyland, and we ended up rebooking that trip 3 times, and we finally said forget it. We rebooked it again, and we keep it's starting becoming a running joke. Almost a year and a half later, we're finally it's almost like the Black Widow of vacations.
Well, yeah, it'll come out in July. Wait, no, November. Wait, no.
Yeah, and that's it almost follows the exact same schedule for when we're trying for the trip.
Oh.
So in that regard, 2020, yeah, kind of sucked, but on the upside, it gave me the opportunity to get a lot closer to doing what I actually want to be doing for a living. What were your positive takeaways from 2020?
Pretty much the same. I mean, listen, I am 100% in agreement that 2020 could take a hike, but without 2020 being what it was, if we were still doing like lots of conventions and stuff like that, I don't think we'd be anywhere near where we are on our book, where we on Stray Dogs. Because think about working every day for something and then taking 4 days out of your week to go do a convention, and doing that almost every weekend in the busy time, which is like the summer. So if you do that, if you're an avid con goer, I wasn't, because I only I work a 9 to 5, so I only get so many days off a year. But if you're doing that for a living, like Tony and Tone, and I don't know if Brad does, but if you're in that groove, that's your reliable source of income. Of course you're going to. Our book would be so far behind, so I'm kind of thanking the quarantine for giving us that push to get this book done, and allowing me the time to get my name out there, as unfamiliar with me as folks are. I'm slowly getting out there, because COVID was a thing and kept everybody paying attention to their screens instead of to the world. I like it. It's a good distraction. Keeps me from watching the news too much, and being bummed out by the world. But 2021, I'm getting a take it or leave it vibe from that too. So,
there's to me so far, it's still early in the game. I'm I'm leaning a bit more towards take it than but then again, like say on the personal level, for the amount of stuff that happened last year, yeah. After that, I've got a middle finger salute to 2020. This one's for you. But to me, so far 2021, not great, but not bad. But it's still early in the game.
Yeah, I mean, 2021 is. I mean, I can't really complain. More good than bad has come from it so far. We've got, of course, Stray Dogs was released this year. That's been marked my best achievement in my life. So, it's not. I'm gonna just put it in perspective. I mean, I'm kind of on the fence right now, but I'm leaning more towards the good side on 2021. But this vaccine's out and everybody's going to get out there soon. Maybe cons are coming back. Who knows? We'll see. Maybe we'll get to go to Disney World finally, or Disneyland.
That'd be nice. But for me, I'm with you, because this show actually started in February of this year, so about roughly the same time Stray Dogs came out. I think maybe a week or two before. And if you take my kids and getting married out of the equation, it's close to the top of the list of good things that have happened for me, at least career wise. But
that's awesome.
But it's been a wild ride, though. Some of the amount of stuff that there's a lot more work that went into some of these things than I realized at the time. Because when my buddy Brett was going, hey, hey, you're doing an awesome job with your writing. What do you think about hosting a show? Hey, what the hell? 5-10 minutes of prep work right before I go in, and then hey, let's rock and roll. Yeah, right. If only.
Yeah, right. I know.
I'm finding myself, generally I'm starting to do my homework 2-3 weeks prior, just to make sure that I know everything that the people have worked on, and be able to actually have have a conversation without looking like an idiot. Which, mind you, it doesn't take much. I realize, but moving on to every guest that comes on the show, we talk about Star Wars a little bit. I have what I call the Force board. You've got all the different movies in the franchise. From episodes 1, 2, 3, the original trilogy, the new stuff, the Ewok movies, Solo, and Rogue One. Out of all of those, now there will be no judgment on which one. Where would your name go? Like I said, there's no judgment. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna ask you.
The Ewoks ones. No, for sure the Ewoks.
Caravan of Courage.
The Ewoks, man. That's right. I love the Ewoks for sure.
Awesome. I absolutely love. I love the Gorax. The more you look at them and realize that. I don't remember if it was Touchdown, Paramount, who it was, but when they created Predator, they almost outright just stole the Gorax to make them.
Yeah, pretty much. I always liked the Ewoks. It was like one of the first. That was like one of my first Star Wars films when I was a kid. Like, I remember my mom, letting us watch that one because my granddad had it on a VHS tape. And that was pretty fantastic. And they were some of the first. Like, I have a Ewoks. Remember the Ewoks cartoon? I have
remember
an original
that one.
cell setup from that cartoon. It's
no kidding.
Yeah, it's like it's like 4 cells. It's the two characters, some plants, and then like an original background of the princess one, and there was like a little one that wore like a green hoodie, and I don't remember her name right now, but I freaking love them. That cartoon was like amazing. It was so cool.
I remember the Ewoks Star Comics, basically Marvel, but Marvel but targeted for kids, so they called it Star. I remember them doing the Ewok comic, and there were a couple I remember from around then that I remember. The one with the princess, I think her name was Nasa.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, yep.
And and it's her birthday, and she'd gotten this staff to showed that she was next in succession to lead the Ewoks, and it was made from this enchanted tree or something, and there an invading party was after her for to get the staff and the tree, when and a lot of the it was. I remember it stood out to me because it was a girl power issue, because all the elders in the tribe that were males were going, she's a girl, she can't do this. And all the males get captured, and she goes along and kicks ass, takes names, frees them, and makes them go. That. So I remember that one, that issue stuck out in my mind. I'm not sure if I still had it, because in 4th grade, I was starting to really get into baseball a lot. So I had this huge box of comics that, other than my G.I. Joes, my Spider-Mans, and my Transformers, everything in the box, a dime a book. I just wanted it gone. I don't even want to begin talking about how much money I've spent trying to recover everything that was originally in that box that I can remember.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. It's kind of hard. Like, I remember I had a Swift Heart Rabbit plush toy when I was a child.
I remember that.
And I cannot find a new one. I had a really mean babysitter, and the mean babysitter threw it away when I was a kid. And of course I was devastated, traumatized. And I have little stuffies, but I can't find a new big one, and for an affordable price, because everybody's crazy. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if I ever find one again, that would be kind of like my grail right now. That's kind of like my grail right now.
That is a good grail. It's a unique grail, because the amount of times where I've talked to people, hey, what's your grail? I want a Hulk 181. Yeah, no shit, you and everybody else. But one that's actually a personal, sentimental one. I fully support those.
Yeah.
The ones where you're not a Hulk fan, you're not a Wolverine fan. You want the book because you want to flip it. There's a difference.
Yeah, I'm not like that. The stuff in my nerd collection kind of stays here. I don't have the energy to flip things right away. I always like I'll spec buy a book just on speculation that it might do something sometimes, but I will lose track of that book 100% of the time. It will go into the long box, and then the long box goes away, and then I'll go back through them later and go, oh, great, I have this number one, but there's nothing else here. Okay, great.
Yeah, with my collection, to me it's a running joke. With a bunch of my friends, something ever happens to me, my wife is not allowed to sell the books for what she thinks I paid for them. Because she knows I've got a couple. She knows I have one or two books that are worth a pretty penny. I've got my my Spider-Man 300, graded at 9.6, signed by McFarlane and Lee.
Damn.
Where
do you live? Just kidding. Well, I don't have that energy. Remember that. I don't have that energy.
Well, to quote Luke, if there's a bright spot at the center of the universe, I'm about as far away from it as you can get. But yeah, like I say, I've got that one. A Fantastic 48 that fell a Fantastic Four number 48 that fell into my lap. I was at a toy show with a guy that had it for $20, and he said he knows it's worth more, but he wanted to unload it and get something for it before, because he had cancer and he knew he wasn't going to be around for much longer. And last thing he wanted was for his wife and kids to blow everything out because they had no idea what there was in there at all.
Right. Wow.
So that's... just for in honor of him, that book's not going to go anywher. Right, this guy that was a complete stranger.
That's an interesting story too. Yeah. That's another thing that I like is that you got that book through an interesting interaction. So it sticks in your brain, like when you got it, not like your Spider-Man 300 or whatever that everybody wants, for their reasons. But that's probably an interesting story too, not to discount it.
Actually, that one, the extent of the interesting story is my almost 22-year-old loved Venom, so I thought somewhere along the way it'd be kind of cool to get, as a surprise, I would get that, get the first appearance, get it signed, and when I picked it up, it was well before the movies and all that made the price just become an absolutely insane number. So I figured I would pick this book up, and somewhere along the way it'd be a surprise gift for him, with those autographs on it. And
wow,
just waiting for the right time, or and in the meantime, wasn't planning on it, but had I've kind of put together a really big Spider-Man run, and I think I've got roughly a 400 straight book run. I'm getting down close to the 170s, all the way up through almost 700.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot of Spider-Mans.
There's a lot of everything. My wife, being as tolerant of my collection as she is a saint. I outkicked my coverage when I got her, plain and simple.
That's awesome. My husband's tolerant, but fair. It's like, if you gotta bring any more of this in, then you have to get rid of this. And I'm like, no, I want to keep it all though. My dragon's hoard, I need it all.
To a degree, it's kind of like that. I've got, I have my one room in the house where I need to be able to make it all fit, and after that, it's kind of good luck with that. I've got, but my wife is cool because my pop figure, our pop figure collection, we have the similar cases to like I have there. The baseball back display cases you can get at Michael's or Hobby
Yep,
Lobby.
you can get
They
them at
hold pop
Michael's. Yep.
figures perfectly.
I've seen them.
And
I see them above your head too. They're with the
mhm,
little figures up there. I see that Gizmo. Aw. But
mhm,
it's
yeah,
cool. I had a pretty big pop collection. I've been slowly weeding that back because I've had far too many.
I
Far too
can
many. I
completely
used to go out on
understand.
the weekend and just shopping bags full of pops, whatever.
Oh,
Who cares?
well,
They're
I love pop figures. The thing I don't like is the way that Funko set it up, where some store, for store exclusives, it should be a character wearing a particular outfit is a store exclusive, not the character. Period. Kind of like, for example,
oh.
with General Grievous from Star Wars, he's a Walgreens only, a Walgreens exclusive.
Also,
Juggernaut
who's
is a
buying pops
Walgreens.
from Walgreens? Who's buying pops from
Walgreens.
Walgreens? Are they in any kind of good condition? Like for me, Walgreens, basically everything gets drop kicked in an aisle. So, like
For for me, I really don't care about the condition of the box. It's coming out of the box anyway.
oh, you're an out of box collector. Woo!
I
I've never met one of those for Funkos before.
well, it got to the point where I was going, okay, because I when I had just four or five of them, okay, but after that, I was just going, the amount of space, the amount of extra space these things take up, the boxes take up, and realistically, I'm not looking to sell them, especially the ones that I would sell are the ones that aren't in the box anyway, which so
Right.
it would defeat the
I've got my big old Grogu back there just chilling. I got my Kool-Aid man back there. I love them. I do love certain ones, and it's got to be like the newer designs are much better to me. They're more visually appealing than the older ones, but I have a couple of older ones that are supposedly worth something. I just don't have the energy. Like I say, I don't have the energy to sell them. I just don't.
well, to me,
Buy them because I like them.
To me, it's having the energy to sell it, for one. For two, the concept of, okay, when it comes to collectibles, it's worth what you can when you can actually get somebody else to pay for it, which that's going to be a crapshoot. So but kind of like I always have people coming up to me going, "Hey, what's a good book that I should buy? For to try if I want to make to make some money." And I asked them, "Okay, well, tell me, what do you like?" I like well, I like Fantastic Four. Then you should buy Fantastic Four. You need to buy something where if you end up not selling it, that you like it. Otherwise, you're going to be just setting yourself up for a huge disappointment the entire way.
Yeah, you'll be looking at this Spider-Man that you didn't want and going, well, but when I see people buying a lot of books, it's usually Spider-Man or Batman and Joker. I see a lot of that. But I mean, like I said, I'm still very new to this stuff, so I watch a lot of live sales. I watch a lot of, I go to the shops and I watch people buy, just to see what they're looking at, because I don't know anything about it, honestly, and it's just fascinating to me to learn it.
There's a couple cons I look back on and go, oh my god, I remember, I was at Emerald City Comic Con in Seattle, and I'd been there 20 minutes, and practically the first booth that has actual comic books. There's the first appearance of Punisher. The guy had 3 different copies of it, one ranging from $100 to $350. And I was looking at it going, I'd like one, but just listening to him, the way he was talking to the customers, he was being an absolute jerk. So I was going, yeah, no, not buying it.
Right.
And
yeah,
now
I mean,
I can't find
it. Now you can't find it anywhere.
Oh, I can find it, but it's a lot easier to tell my wife I spent $100 on a book than I spent the amount to get basically a small used car on a book.
That's the truth. That's the truth.
She's very.
You know what's really weird is I've seen Stray Dogs like first printings on eBay for like $50. That's the weirdest. Because I've never had like anything I've done resell for that kind of money.
I'm not surprised to hear it actually, because it wasn't a huge print run to begin with, so there aren't a whole lot of them out there. Even that movie variant that I have, I'm in the comic book auction groups, I'm seeing that one starting to go. Where starting bids are $7, $8, $9.
Wow.
So
just for and I mean I know I got a bunch of copies of that book, and I say a bunch. I was saving them, like I'm saving them for like when cons come back, I think, and I want to send a set off for grading because I've never had a graded thing, so like I want to send a graded set off. I want to have that, and I just want so much.
If you're gonna be doing if you're gonna be doing that, set yourself up with CGC as a registered artist. That way, you get yellow label stuff, so you can put remarks on them. And
ooh, yeah, hey, that's a good idea. That's an excellent idea. Thank you.
And when
you
speak of me, speak well.
I come to you for the advice. I come to you for the show and the advice.
Yeah, but in all seriousness, kind of like I don't know if you could. Let's see this one right here. We were talking about the recount earlier. Brian Silverbacks is the artist that did that cover. He's also registered with CGC, so he can witness, and all that stuff. So he does. He'll do a remark, a signature, send it in for grading, get it back. It comes back with a yellow label, which
Neat.
makes it easier for him to to put more of a price tag on.
Right, yellow label and versus what, blue label, right?
Blue's yellow. Yellow label means authentic. Authentic. That is the real deal signature. And with CGC, that considering if somebody that's not licensed to be a witness didn't see it, it didn't happen.
Oh.
I learned that lesson the hard way. That Comic-Con I was telling you about, where I saw all those Spider-Man 129s. I had spent the entire day going around getting all these signatures, so I could go. So at the end of the day, I could go up to the CGC booth. Thump! Here's my stack of books. I want those graded, please. You realize not a single one of those is going to get a yellow label for the real autograph. Why?
Oh.
We didn't see it happen.
Oh no.
Don't get me wrong. The flip side to that is I got I've got some awesome books and awesome stories. Case in point, the first Spider-Gwen, signed by Robbie Rodriguez. And there's a little bit of a remark on it because I also bought a print from him. And a few other books where because to me it was going, okay, if they can verify yes the person was here, it would make sense that I didn't. That was a very hard lesson to learn about. This is how the witness thing works.
Oh, that's rough, man.
It could have been worse, because the other part of it is, for the most part, I'm not looking. I don't sell my books.
Right.
Somewhere along the way, somebody is going to have one hell of a bad week or two trying to go through everything whenever I pass, and and this, and I'm trying to decide, okay, do I make it okay? Do I put it in my will where the kids roll a dice and and they can pick up and it's an ongoing turn? Is that per book or per box?
Yeah. You rolled a 6. Oh no, give them a 20-sided die. D20,
just
you get
for
the whole collection.
That's how I do it with my kids to make it fair. Though I like the 20-sided idea better because it eliminates the possibility a lot, makes it a lot more difficult to have ties.
There you
but
go.
but using Dad used to do the same thing. We'd roll a dice for who got to ride shotgun first, who got to do so on and so forth.
Oh, that's
You know,
fun. That's
and it
fun.
was
I
his
had
way.
3 sisters. We never did anything like that.
In hindsight, it was Dad's way of going, I'm not playing favorites. I'm not making a decision. You figure it out between yourselves, and this is the fairest way.
It's just a roll of the dice. This is the fate. This is fate.
Mm-hmm. Well,
It's good.
and the other thing about it was always the understanding. Okay, when every time the engine for the car stopped, you got everybody would shift like in volleyball. You all move one spot. So
Just take
get
some
get
turns.
out get out of the house, and he'd stop for gas. Okay, stop for the grocery store one, and so on and so forth, to the point where realistically everybody could have been in each spot in the car twice before and by the time a day of errands was done.
That's fair. That's good.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. But anyhow, today's show has been a lot of fun. I'm really glad you were able to come on, and I'm very grateful that that you took the time, because I learned a lot about stray dogs, and like I said, I had no idea that you played with My Little Pony. I cannot wait for issue number 3 to come out now that I've seen that cover
Next week. Next
yes.
Wednesday. Issue 2
Awesome.
reprint comes out a week after that.
And you said there's going to be a variant cover, an homage cover for 7. Is that one already out, or is that coming out?
Oh, the variant for 7 is already out. It was an issue 1 variant. Dang if I can remember the name of the store that had it. But
I'm gonna have to go on a quest.
But I'll hook you up with it afterward. I'll be able to look it up for you.
Okay.
I'll tell you who.
Excellent.
But yeah,
like I said,
the next 2 they've already been revealed, right? So issue 4, we have Demons. It's a old movie.
okay.
That's it's more Tony's, that's more Tony's genre. I picked Pet Cemetery, so
Nice.
of course we did the Silence of the Lambs one. I mean, we had to. And then so all of our posters, we wanted to make them iconic. So we would kick the idea back and forth, and then he would Tony does all the design stuff, picks all the fonts out and all the good stuff that makes them look just spot on. And and for number 5, it's Friday the 13th. But instead of him holding a knife, he's holding a dog collar and a leash.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's fantastic. I mean, it's the iconic black poster with the silhouette of Jason, but it's the master, and then he's looking into the woods with the dogs. And I think Tony was on a suicide watch after he inked that one, because it was pretty intense. Days of inking.
I haven't even seen it. It sounds incredible and dark.
That one's really good. Really good. And we've got an It one coming up for Bird City, I think. Stephen King's It, the newer one.
Okay, so it's not just not going to be the original, the claws coming out of the drain going after the sailboat.
Oh no, it's the master. He's holding a balloon down to Killer the pug, who's wearing a raincoat, which is adorable.
Oh.
And of course, you don't see the guy's face, which is like our jam, because we never see his face. And then, he's just holding this balloon down. It looks kind of eerie and creepy. I get it. I get a lot of it, but and that's the vibe. That's our jam. We're making this creepy and fun.
I think it's a good jam. You guys, like we talked about earlier, with this, you have lightning in a bottle. I wish you guys the best of success on this run, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's next. Because I know you've got My Little Pony.
Yeah, me too. I mean, if anything comes from this, I was talking to Tony. I'm like, man, Marvel should get us to draw some like Lockjaw. We need to draw some You know, I'll draw some DC. Let me draw Crypto. Let me draw Bat Dog. I don't care. I'll draw them. There's some AU somewhere where all the heroes are dogs. I don't care.
No, hell, Harley.
Or
Don't
animals.
forget
I can draw all of them. I can draw all the animals.
Harley Quinn's hyenas.
Yeah, Harley Quinn's got hyenas. That's cool. Those are cool.
Yeah,
That's
so
like Bruce and
so there are all sorts of different. I don't recall off the top of my head. But there's definitely a whole other genre out there.
Yes.
But,
thank
you for coming on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll be on anytime you want me. I'll come back anytime.
Excellent. Might have to do look at doing a recap of everything after after the rest of the series has come out, and that way I'll get another of My Little Pony Transformer book, so I can go, hey, let's talk about
let's talk about this one.
Like I say, for all my regular viewers. Now, for all my regular viewers, no show next week because I'm planning on getting poked by a needle, so I don't want to have any conflicting schedule stuff. Tune in on following week, on April 29th, 8:30 p.m. Pacific time, not Eastern, and I have Livio Raimondelli and Tyler Basinski, writers of the story arc on Transformer Galaxies for 1 through 4 when they talked about Devastator. That creative team will be with me for however long we end up running on the 29th on Quentin's Enginewerks. And until then, thanks for watching. I hope everybody has a safe and wonderful tax day. Try not hopefully Uncle Sam is kind and gentle. And until next time, game, thank you for showing up.